Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 7 of X-Force, written by Jeffrey Thorne, but before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. So with that said, this issue opens on board the X-Force ship with Tank playing chess while Forge was still in his virtual world. And as for Rachel and Betsy, they were in the back room preparing to go on a telepathic journey through their mindscape. And when we get there, we see the two women soaring through the sky. And as they flew, Rachel said, "You built a beautiful mindscape for us, and I love it. Best vacation spot ever." Now this prompted Betsy to reply with, "I built it for you, and honestly it was either this or the Outback, and that's more of my own happy place than yours." So with that said, the two women landed, and once they were on the ground, Betsy continued to say, "I wanted you healthy again, Rachel, and whole, especially after what Charles did to you." Now this was a reference to the events that took place during the rise of the powers of X issue number 3. But see, even though this was a big deal to Betsy, Rachel wasn't even concerned with it at all. In fact, she even went as far as to say, she is better now and this is kind of like a family tradition to her. Following that statement, Rachel then stated, "No, it's a Phoenix tradition, and Jean took the Phoenix with her when she left Earth." So as the two women continue on their mental vacation, out of nowhere, yet another voice joins the conversation saying, "Does this count as a spoiler?" And on the next page, we see another version of Rachel, a more classical version. And see, she wasn't the only one, for on the following page we ended up seeing not just the classical version, but all the different versions of her from all over the timeline. Now during their arrival, we learn that Rachel's powers are all over the place, and Betsy is helping her control it. And during Rachel's conversation with her older self, she stated, "The stitching's holding so far." Now to that, the older version replied with, "Be calm, my younger self, this will all come out right. What we have time-slipped to do here today, we have done before, and will do again until Rachel is made whole. For we will seal every crack and close every wound. Though our past selves will not remember these moments, all of us are needed to do this work." And then she continued to say, "We are here and I, the farthest forward, all of you, the scatterlings of my past. We are here in the now, for Rachel Gray. We are here for Rachel Summers. We are here for the child of fire, the daughter of the Phoenix. We are here for ourselves. The Phoenix is birth, it is death, and it is rebirth. But the Phoenix is gone and Rachel died, a sacrificial lamb to save our kind. But without the fire, how could Rachel return? Rachel made her own fire, her own ignition. Rachel brought Rachel back to life without the five and without the Phoenix. Rachel made her own fire, but there are cracks in the vessel and Rachel can't contain all that energy yet while she heals. The excess must go somewhere." Now that prompted Betsy to ask how much longer. She can't keep this up forever, and nor can I. So with Betsy's concern noted, the older Rachel answered her quest by saying, "Not much longer, this was a crux time in my life, Forge's mission, my powers realigning you. Rachel heals and then survives. I can't give more detail, but I promise you both will." But right as she was saying that, something strange started to happen to all the other Rachels around her, for the newest villain on the scene had now turned her attention toward her. With this new arrival, tells the older Rachel to go back to your proper place in time, for you aren't wanted. Now this was a shock, because the older Rachel did not remember this ever happening. So as she was kicked out of the mindscape, both the percent Rachel and Betsy jumped into action. And as they charged, Betsy stated, "I neither know nor care who you are or what you want." But before they could make contact, La Diabla took hold of both women and stated, "Such an interesting construct, a personal private mindscape." Now La Diabla found mutants as a nuisance, but they did have something extra. And according to La Diabla, this dance of forces in her was something La Diabla wanted to study. But forever the fighter, Betsy shot back with that would be difficult to do with her sword in her guts. So with that said, La Diabla then turned her attention to Rachel and stated that Rahel as Phoenix touched but empty of it now. And she found her broken yet full of power, power that she can't control. And in this, Luga found so much potential and was already thinking of weeks worth of experiments to conduct on her. And then La Diabla went on to continue to say, "Sadly, Quadas and Toes, this is not the time for study, for I am a teacher here, and neither of you is my pupil. Aries una distraction. You confuse him, and we need him focused." So with a snap of her fingers, Betsy was ejected from the mindscape, leaving Rachel alone. So as La Diabla prepared for the next step in her plan, Betsy found herself back in the craft, and with no hesitation, she stood to an attack position and informed her team that some woman just kidnapped Rachel. Now this caught Forge's attention because he asked if that woman's name was La Diabla, and then went on to inform Betsy that this woman is some kind of alchemist. And then he went on to say the same woman just attacked him and Sage in his VR. Now with everyone caught up on everything, on the next page, we see a controlled Rachel let out a burst of energy that enveloped the cabin, and as the flames raged out of control, the team scrambled for cover as Betsy attempted to re-enter Rachel's mind. But unfortunately for Betsy, La Diabla was too powerful. So with options running low, Rachel tells Betsy to kill her. With that not even being a viable option in Betsy's mind, she instantly told Forge, "We have to get Rachel out, for the mindscape is collapsing." To that Tank replied with, "Won't that just push her back here with us?" To that, Betsy stated, "No, if it collapses like this, Rachel dies. The way she is now, she'll take every mind in 100 miles with her." So with everything getting worse, Forge interrupted them and said, "This must be some kind of alchemical shield built specifically to block you, but not me." Then he said, "Sage hates magic and she has her reasons, and he isn't the biggest fan of it either, but he at least trained in it. Because when he was growing up, he was supposed to be one of his tribe's shamans, healer, and spiritual protector." And then Forge went on to say, "I had other ideas, especially once my powers started kicking in. I ran away from the tribe, from my duties, from myself, I guess. I was pretty messed up. I just roamed from state to state until the Kiwazi took me in. The Kiwazi is a small tribe in Arizona. They had a knack for technology, and they helped me find a little balance between my spiritual side and what my situation was doing to me." And with that explained, Forge took out an object and continued to tell Betsy that he couldn't navigate her mindscape, but the object he just took out was a techno-spirit rattle. And in his words, this object could sure as help get her back in. With all that going down, we then see Rachel begging to be set free, but La Diabla shoots back with, "Oh yes, thousands of people will die, for you will explode like a bomb from all this power. Muty triste, but it is the only way." So with pain running through Rassel's body, she couldn't help but to ask why she was doing this to her. Now to that La Diabla replied with, "Two reasons really. First, your condition is unique, and I am at my core a scientist and I will never get another chance to observe something like you. But, most importantly, Forge must be taught his proper place." And right when she said that, Betsy's voice called out saying, "Remember what I said about my sword and your guts." And on the next page, Betsy came out of nowhere and drove her blade into La Diabla's chest and then followed up with an additional slash. So with La Diabla on her back foot, she had to ask an important question, and that was how did Betsy got back into the mindscape? And after La Diabla has seen Forge, it all came into focus, for Forge used his tribal alchemy. And right before Betsy could deal her final blow, La Diabla stated, "Perhaps you are more than your mutation, perhaps you can be taught after all." And with a slash of Betsy's sword, La Diabla was dispatched. Following that, Betsy then approached Rachel, and after a deep kiss, the power that once threatened to rip Rachel apart suddenly vanished. And on the next page, the two women woke up back on the ship. And after they all recovered from their previous battle, Betsy asked Forge to tell her what the hell was going on and who was La Diabla. Now Forge answered that question by saying, "I don't know, but Sage was onto her and she may be responsible for the fractures in some way, but I do know one thing you two are. And that is idiots. Because if they had told Forge about their power sharing problem, then he could have fixed it for them. The suits can process esoteric energy, just like their boots. Now this means Forge could modify their suits to regulate Rachel's psionic loads. Now this would take a couple of hours to put together, but when Forge is done, Betsy won't have to be Rachel's storage battery, for the excess energy will flow between them automatically." But before Forge could start, an explosion ripped through their ship, for on the last page, Colossus showed up in their craft saying, "I hope you're happy to see me, because it's time to die." And with that said, this issue of X-Force comes to an end. Now down in the comment section below let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.